In the rural rivers and stagnant ponds of Japan, stories of the river child have persisted for over 1,000 years. These tales often serve as a warning to children: stay away from the deep water, or something will pull you under. These stories describe a 4-foot-tall biped with reptilian skin, a turtle-like shell on its back, and a sharp, hook-tipped beak. During the Edo period, farmers recorded these creatures in a specific light. Rather than supernatural spirits, they were documented as agricultural pests, biological rivals that stole cucumbers and drowned livestock. Samurai of the 18th century even documented physical contests called Kappa. These were literal tug-of-war matches, where the creatures reportedly displayed a bone-crushing strength that exceeded their small humanoid stature. Taken together, the historical record describes a pattern of repeated, violent encounters with a specific and aggressive biological profile. To see how these encounters were analyzed, we look to the Suiko scrolls, an ancient collection of anatomical sketches and technical observations. The scrolls provide a breakdown of the creature's internal systems, detailing specialized lungs allowing for the prolonged submerged hunting described by fishermen. The most peculiar feature documented in these records is the sara, a bowl-like depression located on the crown of the creature's skull. According to the scrolls, this indentation acts as a reservoir for river water. This life-giving fluid is documented as the primary source of the creature's mobility and physical power when out of the water. By documenting these features with such technical detail, the scrolls frame the Kappa as a highly specialized biomechanical predator. The functional reality of this anatomy is illustrated in an 1840s report from Saga Prefecture, involving a fisherman who caught a green-scaled humanoid attempting to drown his horse. The report notes that when the fisherman bowed to the creature, it mirrored the gesture and bowed back, an instinctual behavioral reflex. As the creature tilted forward, the river water was forced to spill from the dish on its head. The fisherman recorded an immediate physiological shift. The 4-foot beast instantly lost its strength, its leathery skin turning a pale yellow as it retreated back into the reeds. This reaction suggests the kara functions as a critical biological mechanism with strict environmental requirements. Beyond written records, there are physical relics that have been preserved for centuries, most notably a mummified arm gifted to a family in Kyushu. The limb is roughly 15 inches long and is covered in fine green scales that have been preserved inside a wooden box. Documentation of the arm describes a unique, stretchable joint, which supposedly allowed the limb to be pulled out of its socket and retracted during a hunt. The hand itself features 4 elongated, webbed fingers, each ending in a sharp, black claw. The existence of these preserved remains provides a concrete anatomical reference that aligns with the historical descriptions. Edo-period Japan was a landscape of rice paddies and forgotten riverbeds, but modern expansion has covered that world in concrete and steel. Today, deep earth excavation and urban development frequently uncover ancient shrines and waterways that have been buried for centuries. This raises the possibility that the creature has adapted to this new environment, utilizing industrialized drainage pipes and subterranean tunnels to navigate the city. The investigation is now moving toward analyzing how such a specialized biology might interact with modern infrastructure. The Kappa remains a persistent mystery, an enigma that may still be surviving within the hidden, watery veins beneath the concrete of the modern world. When the feudal era ended, most people assumed the legendary monsters of the past faded away with it. But Japan's most infamous water dweller, the Kappa, remains a glaring exception. The physical evidence of this creature didn't simply vanish into folklore. It was meticulously collected and preserved by real-world institutions across the country, most notably at the Matsuura Ichiraku and Kisazakura Kappa country museums. Inside these archives sit the actual biological remains of the animal. We're looking at 15-inch desiccated specimens featuring a distinct sharp avian beak and a concave depression on the top of the skull, known as a sara. This wealth of physical evidence has birthed a specialized field called Kappagaku, where experts apply strict forensic conservation methods to these purportedly mythical artifacts. Today's biologists use modern technology to examine these specimens. By utilizing 4K microscopic analysis, they can measure the exact bone density of the remains and map the complex structural layout of their webbed hands. Investigators now deploy cameras into the stagnant pools of Kyushu, hunting the same biological relic that outlived the samurai. The focus has moved to tracking a living predator in its natural habitat. That shift from the museum to the field truly began in 1952. During a bridge construction project on the Chikugo River, workers dug into the muddy bank and uncovered a small stone-lined chamber. Inside that chamber, they found the preserved skeletal remains of an animal entirely alien to the local wildlife. It was a bipedal creature, standing roughly 4 feet tall. This model illustrates the two distinct anatomical anomalies found on the skeleton. First, a turtle-like carapace that is fused directly to the creature's spine. Second, a large flat indentation right on the top of the skull. These exact features are the biological signatures of the Kappa. Finding them together in a physical skeleton confirmed that the creature described in centuries-old texts was actually navigating the Japanese river systems. The 1952 Chikugo River discovery bridged the gap between Edo-period myths and modern archaeology. It verified that a 4-foot-tall entity with a cranial sara was a measurable presence long after the feudal era ended. The investigation escalated again in the late 20th century. In 1984, the Miyazaki Museum received a series of reports detailing active sightings near a remote local dam. A park ranger captured this high-contrast photograph showing a 4-foot humanoid perched right at the water's edge. It captures a distinct water-filled depression on its head, reflecting the sun, providing a biological basis for the legendary sara. Forensic experts thoroughly analyzed the photograph to rule out a hoax. They determined that the skin texture and light refraction were consistent with a living amphibian, rather than a fabricated rubber costume. This image forced the scientific community to acknowledge the possibility of an active biological presence in the mountains. It pointed directly to a surviving colony of amphibious predators inhabiting the reservoirs. Fast forward to the contemporary era. In 2026, a research team deployed a fleet of autonomous underwater drones to map the deep bends of the Shimanto River. The drone's 4K camera captured a brief, high-contrast flash of movement, revealing a living biological specimen. The footage shows the creature propelling itself with rhythmic, webbed kicks. You can clearly make out a pair of large black eyes and a sharp, pronounced avian beak. The drone's most significant contribution came when it recovered a fresh water sample, displaced directly from a sara as the creature swam past. This chart displays the DNA markers extracted from that water sample. The genetic sequence diverges completely from the baseline data of any known turtle or primate native to Japan. The combination of high-definition underwater footage and this anomalous genetic data leaves very little room for doubt. A 4-foot-tall, scaled giant with an avian face currently inhabits the Japanese river channels. Look at the sheer progression of evidence over the last century. We've moved from 15-inch mummies in museum archives to the 1952 skeletal unearthing, to the 1984 forensic photograph, and finally to precise DNA sequencing in 2026. While the surface of Japan has been heavily paved over with modern urban infrastructure, the deep, winding ecosystems of its ancient rivers remain entirely wild and unmapped. The data suggests an amphibious predator that evolved a unique cranial reservoir. This specialized anatomical feature enables the amphibious creature to seamlessly maintain its essential aquatic needs, even while traveling extensively across dry land. Today, museum artifacts and riverbed data align. The 4-foot Kappa persists as a biological reality, inhabiting the deep river bends that remain unreachable by urban development. As long as those water-filled sara continue to reflect the moonlight, the elusive river child remains the undisputed master of the Japanese deep.